Hi everybody, it's Danny Schur, composer, producer, co-writer of the Stan movie musical. Welcome to Musical Mondays. This week's episode, Life Imitates Art. Or is it the other way around? Welcome back. The Stan movie musical is playing all across the United States on virtual cinema. Get your tickets at the link below. So even though the Stan movie musical, based on my stage musical strike, is set against the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike, many of the reviews and online commentary say variations of, "Wow, Stan movie musical, is it ever timely?" ripped from the day's headlines. With the recent events in Washington, D.C., and I'm referring to the riotous insurrection, the seditious insurrection by Trump supporters of the Capitol building, we have an undeniable instance of life imitating art and art imitating life. Let's break it down. Now, I should say from the outset that the script that became the Stan movie musical was largely written in 2003 and 2004. I mention that because when our Hollywood director, Robert Adatui, read the screenplay in 2017, he said, "Wow, did you guys write this in the last couple of weeks?" To him, it seemed quite clear that the screenplay was a direct reference to a Trumpian America. And while the script can undoubtedly be interpreted as a metaphor for Trumpian America, what's so incredible and so much an accident of history, as it were, was that these events were taking place in 1919 during the Winnipeg General Strike. So it's definitely an instance of life imitating art. So now I'll show you how some of the things depicted in the movie are exactly like the circumstances of January 6th, 2021, and how in some cases they're quite the opposite, although it sort of looks the same when you see the action on the screen. So there's a character in the movie, A.J. Andrews, a wealthy lawyer played by the most excellent Winnipeg actor, Paul Auciamber. Now, although it's 1919, A.J. could have written the book on Trumpism. A.J. believes the laws are to be used to his benefit, in fact, changed to his benefit.
It isn't illegal to speak one's mind in this country, even for foreigners.
Then make it illegal. That's why we got you into the cabinet.
And A.J.'s 1919 version of Twitter is a newspaper controlled by him, written by him, and which convinces his followers of his truth. And like Hitler's brown shirts or Trump's Capitol Hill defiling followers, AJ too has his own fascist private army in the form of specials, the armband wearing private police force who do his bidding. So those two aspects of the Stan movie musical may as well have been lifted right from the headlines of January 6th, 2021. Here's where the movie diverges in theme and where it's more similar to movements like Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, the climate change movement, in that the whole of society rises up against the powers that be. In the movie, there's a black character, Emma Jones, a woman who's run away from racist violence in Oklahoma and has joined the Great Migration north, not just to the northern United States, but to Winnipeg in Canada. Some of the speeches that character makes, and in fact, the title track of the movie, Stand, could be lifted right from the speeches of Black Lives Matter activists from the summer of 2020.
My family came from Oklahoma 10 years ago, running from lynchings. But now, they up and changed the law. You got this color skin, and they don't let you in no more. But I do know, the more we do nothing, the more nothing changes.
There's an indigenous character, Gabriel, a First World War veteran. Some of the words coming out of that character's mouth could have been from 2020 and some of the indigenous protests in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement and the broader indigenous movement for justice for indigenous peoples.
You ever gonna take that uniform off?
I've never been treated equal to a white man until I got this uniform. No, I don't want to take it off.
And then the final and most important way in which art imitates life, life was like art, was the silent march depicted in the Stand movie musical. On June 21st, 1919, during the Winnipeg General Strike, a march of about 20,000 was protesting the imposition of new Immigration Act laws and the wrongful imprisonment of General Strike leaders. And what absolutely distinguishes the events of Bloody Saturday during the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike was that the organizers intended and were carrying out a peaceful, non-violent march. It was a silent march in which no placards or signs were carried. In fact, some of the first-person accounts of the day talk about how eerily silent this mass of thousands walking absolutely silently, save for the sound of their footsteps, was. So the silent march in Winnipeg history and the silent march depicted in the movie are absolutely unlike what happened on January 6th, 2021. But when Bloody Saturday 1919 turned violent, there is a parallel to 2020. In 2020, peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters were often met with brutal police suppression of the peaceful marches. That is an absolute parallel to what is depicted in the movie and what happened in real life when the events of Bloody Saturday, June 21st, 1919 in Winnipeg turned violent.
It wasn't supposed to be this place on this Saturday in June.
All of which is to say, the Stand movie musical, art imitates life, life imitates art. I certainly am not intending to exploit a bad political situation, but the movie is an important civic lesson for what's going on right now. I'd encourage you to watch it. I'll leave the links to the virtual cinema links below. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're digging the content on our channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button. You can also get the soundtrack for the Stand movie musical on iTunes. So as always, stand up for human rights and stand by.